If you're working 24/7 on your Etsy business and it still isn't growing, then I say this with so much love. Something isn't right and you are obsessing over the wrong things. Maybe you are tweaking your keywords for the 50th time, trying to fix your SEO. Maybe you're just chasing every single new trend, every single new shiny object. Or maybe you worked really hard to get your business to where it is today, and then you sat back and were kind of thinking, okay, now what? Why is nothing working? Why is nothing happening? You're probably overanalyzing every single traffic drop, but not actually doing the things that actually move your business forward. And how do I know all of this? Because I'm guilty of it too. But I am pleased to say, after years and years of trial and error, I managed to build my Etsy shop to a top 1% shop. Etsy is now my full-time income. I managed to piece everything together by myself. And over the past couple of years, I've grown a second business on the side, helping hundreds of sellers to get clarity in their own business, to get unstuck, and to actually start moving forward and hitting those goals that they dream of. And the biggest pattern that I've seen amongst the sellers that I work with and in my own journey is that you are probably ignoring the boring things that actually move your business forward and instead focusing on the shiny, exciting things that you think are actually going to help you grow. So let's break down those wrong things that most sellers are fixating on. First up is hyperfixating on trying to fix your SEO. So constantly tweaking your SEO, constantly tweaking your keywords, chasing every single perfect keyword, spending hours and hours in eRank and Allura and Marmalade and all of these tools trying to piece together the magic formula that's going to get you all of that explosive traffic that you're waiting for. Panicking every time traffic drops, obsessing over every single change in your stats. But this is the kind of stuff that keeps you stuck because you are reacting emotionally rather than strategically, and you're never really letting your listings work for long enough to gather enough data to know whether or not they actually need to change in the first place. Another big red flag I see is sellers constantly stalking their competitors and wondering what they are getting up to and how they are managing to build so many bestsellers. Or even worse, trying to copy what is working for them. It keeps you stuck because you are building a shop based on what you think is working for somebody else, rather than focusing on building a shop for what is actually working for you. The third thing is chasing every single shiny object, new idea, new strategy, new trend, new hack, new tool, whatever the new thing on the market that sounds like it's going to be the answer to all of your problems is, chasing after it and then finding out after days and weeks and months of effort in that space that actually it wasn't the be all and end all and it didn't fix anything. Maybe you're jumping to new product ideas constantly or thinking that the next niche that you narrow down into is going to be the answer to all of your problems. It keeps you stuck because you can't build traction if you keep starting over every single time you get distracted by the latest shiny thing. I am super guilty of chasing shiny objects, so if you feel like I'm calling you out, just know that I am in this too. And I've done a lot of work to make sure I move away from chasing shiny objects and sticking with what works, which I'm going to tell you about in a minute. The fourth thing that sellers are doing wrong is they are focusing on the busy work. They are rewriting listings, tweaking thumbnails, posting daily on social media to crickets and not getting any traction, to spending hours and hours staring at the shop, their listings, refreshing traffic, hours in Allura and eRank, trying to figure out why nothing's moving. And this is keeping you stuck because you are working really, really hard, but you are not working smart. None of this work you are doing is compounding. And the final thing that I see so many sellers get stuck on is they are stuck in overthinking instead of taking aligned action. They are waiting for the perfect product or the perfect time to launch or the perfect strategy or the perfect hours of the day to be able to work on and focus on their business, when actually, let's be honest and let's be realistic, there's no perfect time. You're not going to have more time next week. You're not going to have more time next month. You're not going to just be able to do it when the kids are in bed or just be able to do it when the kids are in school. Or if you just had a few more hours in the day, you'd be able to fit all this stuff in. That stuff's likely never going to happen. So stop overthinking and start taking action as and when you can. And I also so often see sellers avoiding taking action because they're so scared that it won't work that they don't want to put the time and effort and energy into something on the off chance it doesn't work. And I would really ask you to reframe that into, yeah, but what if it did? This kind of overthinking keeps you stuck because action is actually what builds you clarity. You can't think your way into clarity and into knowing exactly the right answer. You have to take that aligned action, learn from the data that you are being given, and that's where momentum compounds. So you can spend every week tweaking the same listings, focusing on the same areas, overthinking the same things, but actually because none of those things are the right areas to focus on, none of it really matters. And again, I say that with so much love. The truth bomb is that growth is boring. Everybody wants the magic trick. Everybody wants that secret key to sales, to have a little look under the curtain. But the sellers that grow consistently are the ones that realize that actually the unsexy work that you keep doing and showing up and doing consistently is what actually compounds into growth longer term. Growth isn't really built in excitement. It's built in repetition. And I've said this a few times before that actually when I'm bored in my business is usually when I'm growing the most. There's that saying that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And I actually have a bit of a bugbear with that saying because I'd argue that in business repetition is actually what counts. So listing more, posting more, refining more, paying attention to the data and giving it time to work. Because most sellers give up long before they have enough data to know what's actually working. So that's when I managed to build my own Etsy shop into a top 1% shop by not chasing the shiny things and doubling down on what is already gaining traction. So what is the shift? What are the things you actually need to focus on that really genuinely matter? First up, and I cannot stress this enough, you need to understand who you are selling to. You need to understand your customer. Think like your customer, not like a seller, and everything else gets so much easier. If you focus on who that one person is, understanding what makes them tick, what they want and need from you, what they need to hear from you, what they need to know from you, what they are feeling right now, what they are experiencing right now, what things actually bring them joy, and managing to answer those things through your products and through your content and through the things that you put out into the world. If you focus on who that person is, keep that human being, that customer that you are selling to at the forefront, everything else falls into place and gets so much simpler, I promise you. The second thing is to focus on your conversion rate and not your traffic, and I promise that actually makes things easier down the line. Because if you get the basics right, if you improve your photos, if you improve your descriptions, if you get your pricing right, if you build that trust, if you deliver consistently to your customer, then you enter into the Etsy SEO flywheel, and it doesn't even matter about your keywords. If your product is selling consistently to the buyers who are finding it, Etsy pushes it out to more people. You can stop worrying about finding the perfect keyword that's going to bring you all of that traffic and instead focus on converting the customers that are already landing on your page. And this is the number one thing we focus on whenever I work with a new seller, is improving that conversion rate. And I'll put some examples up around the screen of how that growth in conversion rate really compounds into more traffic and more sales down the line too. So sure, your SEO is what initially brings people to your listings, but honestly, focusing on that conversion rate, that is what keeps you in business. The third thing is consistent implementation over constant change. Keep testing the small things, keep track of what's working, stop throwing everything out the second it doesn't work. Make data-led tweaks, not emotional-led decisions, and keep showing up and doubling down on the tiny areas of growth that you see, because honestly, that is where the consistency, that is where the growth compounds. Instead of going, that product got a few views, but let's move on to the next shiny thing, focus on why that product got the views, double down in that area, make more products like that. Look at your keywords you use there, look at your photos you use there, really focus in on why that works. Same goes for your socials, same goes for the other parts of your business. Focus on those tiny little shoots of growth and they will soon blossom and bloom into something so much bigger. And the fourth thing is to get help to keep you on track. When you are doing this alone, it is so hard to drift. So find yourself an accountability buddy. Find yourself a business partner, a business friend, anybody, even a friend who just knows what you are working with, and show up and tell them what you are doing every single day and ask them to keep you accountable to your goals. Because when you are doing things alone, it is so easy to drift off track. That is why having someone review your work or just check in with you, give their perspective, keep you consistent and keep you on the path, it can change absolutely everything. And if, like me, you don't have business friends or somebody that can help you with this, find a space that you can find these people. I will always welcome you into the Seller Society, which is exactly what we do here. And one of the reasons I built the Seller Society is because I didn't have that person holding my hand, keeping me accountable, and actually pulling my head back round when it was drifting off and looking at the wrong things to focus on the things that actually matter. Thing is, we chase all of this exciting stuff because it feels good. It feels like progress when we are learning new things, when we have a new shiny goal ahead of us, when we have something else to focus our attention on. But consistency is actually what is uncomfortable. If you think about it, people can't consistently stick to a calorie deficit. People can't consistently hit their step goals. People can't consistently, what else can't people consistently do? I don't know. As humans, we don't like consistency because it's boring. So that's why that accountability, that feedback, or even just a really clear plan really matter. They help you to stay the course when your brain wants to chase something more exciting. So if you can get comfortable doing the boring things consistently, tracking, testing, learning, repeating, that's when the magic is going to happen. Your business growth won't happen overnight. We are so used to seeing these explosive growths on social media that we think that that's what business growth looks like, and it isn't. It is small, it is compounding, it is seeing those green shoots and nurturing them and growing them until they turn into something that your wildest dreams couldn't even imagine was ever going to happen. That's exactly what happened in my business. Growth is steady, strategic, and it's simple when you focus on the right things for long enough. So stop obsessing over those wrong things. Start building habits that actually will help you to grow, because that is your real work for the rest of 2025 and into 2026 and beyond. If you can lock in a year of focus and a year of consistent action, you will be so much further ahead than you are right now, and than most people who can't even give it till the end of the month before they give up and move on to the next thing. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.